There's a quiet moment, isn't there, when your feet meet the bare earth? Maybe it's the first step off a worn carpet on a cool wood, or the slow transition from the safety of shoes to the openness of the ground beneath you. That slight, almost imperceptible pause, as if the world itself is inviting you in. The contrast is vivid. The texture, the temperature, the simple, undeniable reality of connection. It might feel strange at first, even vulnerable, but it is also strangely grounding. A reminder that beneath all the layers we wear, the defenses, the habits, the masks, there's a raw, honest part of ourselves waiting to sense, to feel, to simply be. This video is for anyone who has ever felt the quiet pull to remove their shoes, to let their feet meet the earth without barrier. Whether you do it often or only in secret moments, this space is for you. If you find yourself curious about what that impulse means, welcome. There will be no judgment here, only reflection. And if you return, you might find that the gentle rhythms you seek in your feet echo in other parts of your day. By the way, if this calm conversation feels like a place you belong, you might want to stay a while. If you have ever noticed people who embrace being barefoot, you might have caught the glimmer of something beyond practicality. Often, the belief around this behavior is that walking barefoot is simply about comfort or rebellion against societal norms. It feels reasonable to think so. After all, shoes are designed for protection, structure, even style. Rejecting them seems like a statement, perhaps carefree or even defiant. This idea holds emotional weight because it taps into a broader story we tell about control and freedom. Choosing bare feet can be seen as an act of reclaiming autonomy, a deliberate departure from imposed constraints. That's why intelligent minds accept this belief with ease. It frames barefoot walking as a sort of personal manifesto. However, what nobody talks about is how deeply this practice may reach beyond mere statement or comfort. It is less about rejecting shoes and more about seeking a different kind of belonging, one that begins at the very edges of our body. Rather than a simple act of choice, walking barefoot often reflects a yearning for sensory presence and connection that modern life can obscure. When you are barefoot, you are not just freeing your feet. You are allowing your nervous system to speak in its original language, to feel textures, temperatures, and subtle shifts in the ground that a shoe would veil. This is a subtle reframe, moving away from notions of rebellion and into the realm of embodied experience. Now, you might be thinking that this is just a preference, something trivial in the grander scheme. But what's happening neurologically is more profound. The nerve endings in your feet, thousands of them, act as antennas, gathering information about your surroundings and relaying it to your brain. This sensory feedback loop influences your balance, posture, and even emotional state. In a world where feet are constantly sealed away, these pathways become underused, dulling your body's natural rhythm. Walking barefoot reactivates these connections, like waking up an old friend you had forgotten. The body begins to remember how to feel, responding with a slow, grounding comfort that spreads through the nervous system and quiets internal noise. Imagine your feet as the roots of a tree, reaching deep into the soil beneath. When shoes shield your feet, it's as though the roots are trapped in clay, unable to drink fully from the earth. But when you allow your feet free contact with the ground, the roots sink, they drink, and the tree, yourself, becomes more deeply anchored. The soil's uneven textures, the cool moisture, the grain of sand or blade of grass, they all provide information and nourishment, inviting growth in subtle ways. This metaphor helps us understand that barefoot walking is not simple physicality. It is an act of grounding your identity, of rediscovering your place within the larger whole. I recall a story about a woman named Iris. She began walking barefoot in her backyard, something she never imagined she would do. At first, the feeling was foreign, even unsettling. The roughness of the grass, the occasional sharpness of a hidden pebble disrupted her usual rhythm. But over weeks, she noticed a change, not just in her steps, but in her mindset. The quiet moments when her feet touched earth became small acts of kindness toward herself. In those moments, worry softened, and a gentle presence emerged. To onlookers, it might have seemed like a simple habit, but for Iris, it became a daily ritual of reconnection and healing. That story embodies what nobody talks about, how such lived experience carries emotional resonance beyond the surface appearance. There's a nuance here between comfort and avoidance that deserves attention. Walking barefoot can feel comforting. There's no arguing that. Yet, sometimes it also serves as a subtle form of retreat, a way to momentarily shield ourselves from the harshness of the external world. It is important to hold both truths without judgment. The act can simultaneously nurture and protect, soothe and isolate, like dipping a toe into water that both refreshes and cools. This subtle balance invites a deeper awareness not of failure or flaw, but of human complexity and need. On a wider scale, the barefoot impulse can be viewed as a symptom of our times, a systemic reflection rather than a personal one. In an era saturated with technology, synthetic materials, and artificial environments, the body's natural needs are often sidelined. Walking barefoot quietly pushes back against this disconnection, reminding us that our biology craves direct engagement with nature. It's not a failure on anyone's part that modern life obscures this. Rather, it is a broader cultural story about what we prioritize and what we neglect. Recognizing this diminishes self-judgment and instead fosters curiosity about how society shapes our sensory world. What might it mean, then, to see barefoot walking less as an odd quirk and more as an invitation? Could it be a call to reconnect with a quieter, more tactile way of being? What feelings arise when you consider the earth beneath your feet as a conversation partner? These thought invitations serve as gentle touchstones rather than commands, opening space for personal exploration rather than performance. One profound reframe I want to offer is this. Preferring barefoot walking is not about rejecting normalcy, but about embracing a fuller spectrum of human experience. It is not about weakness or carelessness, but about attuning to the subtle wisdom within your body. To choose bare feet at moments is to say, I honor the intelligence of my senses and the rhythms of my own pace. This reframe shifts from judgment to affirmation. It allows for respect of oneself as a living, feeling being in dialogue with the world. Returning to the metaphor of the tree and its roots, think about how a tree can weather storms not because it avoids them, but because it remains anchored beneath the surface. Barefoot walking anchors you by reconnecting to your body's deepest sensory foundations. Later, when you return to shoes, perhaps there is a sense of carrying that grounding within you, a hidden strength quietly supporting each step. The roots do not vanish. They grow stronger in their silence. Throughout this reflection, a few moments of revelation often emerge for those who listen deeply. First, that what seems like simply a physical choice may be a form of subtle self-care or healing. Second, that tendencies to walk barefoot can reveal a larger relationship with vulnerability and presence. And third, that this behavior connects intimately with how we experience safety and freedom in bodies that are often regulated or restricted. This is not a call to run barefoot everywhere, nor a prescription for how to live. Instead, it is an exploration of what it means to embrace the world through the soft skin of your feet, and in doing so, touch something beyond the obvious. The calm presence you invite during these moments can carry through your day, like a whispered reminder of belonging. If you have been listening quietly, you may recognize something of yourself here, something tender, perhaps unexplored, or even tenderly familiar. What nobody talks about is how these small acts add up, becoming gentle ways of navigating a world that can feel noisy and overwhelming. To step barefoot on the earth is not just a gesture, but a practice of presence, a way to soften the hard edges of experience. I want to leave you with a few reflective questions to walk with. When have you felt most connected to your body? What sensations do you hunger for that daily life rarely provides? How might introducing moments of barefootedness change your rhythm, your mood, your sense of safety? These questions invite you to ponder without pressure, guiding you gently back to your own inner geography. As we near the close of this conversation, consider this reassurance. No matter your choice about bare feet, you are not broken or incomplete. The impulse to walk barefoot is just one thread in the rich tapestry of human experience. It is an invitation to listen more deeply, not to fix or change yourself. To see this way, this quiet way of being, is to gift yourself kindness. To anchor this thought in identity, you might say to yourself, I am a being who deserves to touch the earth gently, to feel the ground beneath me, even if only for a moment. This is a way of honoring the whole person, not fragmenting it with judgment or expectation. If this reflection helped you find a softer understanding of your experience, it might help someone else too. There is a subtle power in shared kindness, a quiet ripple that begins with one step. When you're ready, you might explore how similar rhythms play out in other ways, like the psychology of people who prefer sunsets over sunrises. That too is about pace, preference, and presence. And if there is curiosity about how the quiet moments of the day shape us, you might find gentle companionship in the story behind people who love quiet mornings. But for now, breathe softly. Feel your feet, the surface beneath, and know you are seen. The earth is patient, and so are you.